be taken into consideration. I would like to recognize our next member, the gentlewoman for U.S. Virgin Islands, Ms. Plaskett. You're on, Ms. Plaskett, for 5 minutes.
Thank you. It's so wonderful to be here with you, Chairwoman Napolitano, as well as Ranking Member Rouser, members of the subcommittee, and particularly, of course, the staff who do so much of the great work. I want to thank you for the opportunity to advocate on behalf of my district, the U.S. Virgin Islands, as well as the non-contiguous portions of this country, as the committee develops the Water Resources Development Act of 2022. I have a lot of critical priorities that I'd like to discuss with you, but I think I'd rather use my time to talk specifically about some policy issues and policy changes which I believe will be really helpful to the U.S. Virgin Islands as well as the non-contiguous U.S. in moving forward with a variety of projects for flood control, storm damage reduction, and ecosystem restoration. The Virgin Islands is currently having difficulty with moving ahead on projects that have been authorized and funded due to insufficient funds to pay local cost share requirements. Therefore, I've requested language to allow non-federal sponsors to use state and local fiscal recovery funds to pay the local cost share on all phases of water resources development projects. This is consistent with the Department of Treasury's guidance on the use of these funds under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. However, the Corps of Engineers is presently requiring non-federal sponsors to obtain a signed letter from the U.S. Treasury Secretary to explicitly authorize such use of funds to pay the local cost share on each water resources development project. This is an unnecessary bureaucratic hurdle. It's impractical, unreasonable, and unrealistic for each project. And the inconsistency with standing guidance issued for the use of funding provided for the state and local fiscal recovery funds under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. Allowing the use of the ARPA funding to meet local cost share requirements will greatly benefit the Virgin Islands because sufficient local funds are not available to pay for medium-sized flood control projects that were authorized in the Water Resources Development Act of 2020 and funded to build with resources allocated under the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act and the Disaster Relief Act of 2021. I've also asked that cost share waiver authority that currently exists for U.S. territories and Indian tribes under Section 1156 of the Water Resources Development Act of 1986 be extended to apply to the pre-construction design and engineering phase of a water resource development project in addition to studies. This would tremendously help to both the territories and Indian tribes. In my district, due to insufficient funds to pay local cost share and the inability to use the ARPA funding to pay such local cost share, the pre-construction design and engineering phase of the largest flood risk management project on St. Thomas that is currently authorized and funded cannot move forward. These are examples, I believe, of policy issues which I think could work to support the increase in completing these projects and making sure that they're done. And lastly, I've requested with other members from the non-contiguous U.S. that the committee include language to authorize the Secretary in conducting a study of flood risk management or hurricane and storm damage risk reduction to recommend a project in the non-contiguous U.S. without needing a demonstration that the project can be justified by national economic development benefits. The non-contiguous areas of the U.S. are set apart geographically from the rest of the country and have special needs related to flood risk management or hurricane and storm damage risk reduction. I have a written testimony which has much more specificity with regard to priorities and projects, but I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all today about these issues, and thank you for your time. I yield back.
Thank you very much, Ms. Plaskett. We understand the issues that the territories have, and we're trying to work with them to see what we can do to help out. Thank you very much. Now I'd like to recognize our next member, gentleman from California, Mr. Valadao.